Now let's take a look at the other semi-final, the first semi-final on Tuesday night. It pits France against Belgium. First of all, we're going to talk about Belgium, the golden generation of Belgian football as they're being called, and they beat five-time champions Brazil in their quarter-final. I think Belgium look like the best team in the tournament now. They were just so good going forward. So much of what they do was like that third goal against Japan, where it's just a sudden counter-attack, these slicing passes through, and then just clinical finishing. I'm not sure France are going to beat them. We'll get on to that. But against Brazil, Tom, what do you think made the difference?
I think a return to... I know we talk about their golden generation and that sort of stuff. I think a return to the dark arts has been actually a good thing for Belgium in the use of Fellaini. I think the first few games they struggled without him, and then every time that he was injected into the team, he sort of transformed the game. He does all the dirty work to allow the likes of De Bruyne, Hazard and Lukaku. He's also, I think, in those counter-attacking things, he's surprisingly very agile and that sort of thing, and at springing them out. And De Bruyne always has that bit of class. So, yeah, I agree that they're probably the best team left in the tournament, other than England.
Yeah, confident we would beat Belgium in the final.
Well, it's coming home, Dave. Can't go anywhere.
Sorry, I forgot for a minute. It's
by the Low Countries.
Yeah.
Other than it's coming home, I'm not confident about that at all.
No.
Can I just say, before we go on though, can I just say how happy we all are that Neymar's going home?
Yes.
Bye.
Roll your way home.
Like Lukaku and Fellaini remind me, and I think I can't remember who it was I saw said this, but it's very, very true. They remind me of like the bigger kids playing with little kids. Yeah. So like in a playground, like two 16-year-olds joining with the 11-year-olds, and then that's it. They don't know how to handle them.
Have you seen that? Like, it's like a 14-year-old picture of Lukaku playing football, and he's like 6'2", and the other kid's like 4'11".
I bet. But his first touch for me has come on so much this tournament. Like that's always been my biggest issue with him, was that his first touch was never good enough, especially to play up front in a Mourinho side, because it needs to be immaculate because he gets so few chances. But it's really come on, and that run to set up De Bruyne that was for me the breakout sort of moment where he's starting to edge into like beyond good and into like world class. That run where, because he held off 2 or 3 defenders, used skill and power and strength. It was incredible.
So what's the key? If you are France, or if you are possibly England next Sunday, what can you do? I mean, if I'm Didier Deschamps, I maybe look at that back line and think, if you attack them with pace, there's a little bit of weakness there. What's the Achilles heel for Belgium?
Well, I think you've just got to hope that they don't play Nasser Chadli and Marouane Fellaini as centre midfield. I mean, how on earth is a team playing that, putting Brazil to the sword so well? That was unbelievable. Chadli doesn't even play at Spurs anymore, does he? Isn't he
he's at West Brom.
He's at West Brom. Yeah, he went to West Brom.
And he wasn't even playing for West Brom. Fellaini doesn't make Man United's first team. So, but I mean, in all honesty, I think you can get at them with pace. I think Mbappe versus that defence is going to be, Mbappe and Griezmann, it's going to be a very, very interesting matchup against that defence.
Could be goals in that semi-final.
It could be banged. I mean,
two great counter-attacking teams.
I think the big difference is if they have company that stayed fit. He looks like he's been playing very well since he's played this tournament. But if he goes injured, their backup option is Derek Boato, who's been playing for Celtic in the SPL. So the likes of Mbappe and Griezmann versus that guy.
So I think starting 11s, Belgium's is probably better, but France's depth. I mean, the substitutions they can make. I mean, they've got Dembele on the bench. Yeah. Is it Lamar on the bench? The players that they can bring on versus what Belgium can bring on is just incredible.
Although Belgium have their own Dembele on the bench as well, of course. So. Who's also pretty
as good as he is, I don't think he's going to unlock a game.
I heard someone saying today, Dembele, I don't think he's even gotten off the bench for them, and he would easily be England's best midfielder.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but not at the moment, because he wouldn't fit in. It's coming home. Don't need him. Let's talk about very, very quickly about Brazil and the fact that they have gone. And actually, I want to talk about Neymar, because I think Neymar, quite apart from the fact that he clearly lost the battle of the number 10s to Hazard in terms of who had the better performance in that quarter final. But actually, Neymar's reputation preceded him a little bit, and even times when arguably he was fouled, right, a couple of times, referee just wasn't interested. The referee had a look of disdain on his face for Neymar, and it's got to the point, I think, now that Neymar has become something of a liability for Brazil in that sense? Obviously, he's a very good player, but in that particular sense, more of a problem than an asset.
Absolutely, yeah, for two reasons. So the first, obviously, is the all the play acting. He's basically become the boy that's cried wolf. But I think it's been interesting that this World Cup, you've had teamwork espoused over individuals, and I think it could be the end of the sort of individuals era. So if you look at the last 10 years, it's really been about a Ronaldo or a Messi or a Neymar, and teams that have got that, or even like Salah for Egypt, teams that have got this standout player are almost hamstrung by that, because all they want to do is give it to that player, and that just creates carnage.
It's the Sweden case, yeah.
Like Sweden, exactly.
And actually, the thing that people are saying, we've got to stop, but the thing that people are saying about why Martinez has done such a good job with Belgium is that he's taken a load of individuals who are all the top players at their clubs and somehow been able to make them function as a team.
Yeah,
right?
really good team. Yeah.
And that's possibly it. So, what do you think? Is this headed towards a Belgium World Cup victory on Sunday? I hope not. But we'd like to know what you think. Are Belgium now the team to beat in this year's World Cup?